إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, the Sustainer, the Cherisher, the Creator of the heavens and the earth. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is his final messenger. Dear brothers, dear sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Can sisters at the end hear me? Yes? You can hear me clearly? Alhamdulillah. Dear brothers and sisters, in these blessed days preceding the month of Hajj, indeed the days that are coming upon us, commencing on Sunday, are blessed days of Allah Azza wa Jal. On this earth, the first 10 days of the Hijjah, in which, as you're aware, people will go and perform the pilgrimage in the sacred land of Allah in Mecca and around it. And these are days in which Allah Azza wa Jal commands us to be mindful of Him, to intensify our good deeds and remember Him more intensely. And subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, in these sacred days, we're indeed endowed with blessings and gifts from Allah Azza wa Jal, a call from Allah to come back and remember Him. And each time we remember Allah Azza wa Jal, brothers and sisters, bear in mind that we're coming to meet that which suffices us, Allah Azza wa Jal. We have infinite need, brothers and sisters, infinite needs. And the only one who suffices those needs are Allah. The one who sets our direction is Allah. The one who can correct the way you think is Allah. The one who can orient your heart in the right direction is Allah. Look at none but Allah. We have so many issues and challenges, brothers and sisters. And in your tender and young age, in your days of singlehood, wallahi, brothers and sisters, every single year I come back to this subject that really aches my heart. It's the subject of marriage. And the subject of marriage, brothers and sisters, and I'm asking you to remember it even in those days, in a new fashion, in a new perspective, in those blessed days of the Hijjah that are coming upon us, asking Allah for help with Him. Because I've seen so many stories that are filled with suffering, filled with problems within our midst, within our communities, brothers and sisters. Too many tragedies. And I'm asking you, brothers and sisters, and in your tender young age, I know you're thinking about this subject. It's pressing against you. It's surrounding you. It doesn't escape your thoughts and mind, no matter what you tell me. All of us will go to bed at night, if you're single, brother or a sister, and you know that you're thinking of my mate. Who's that mate that is going to be for me in my life? Will I find that mate? Who will it be? And your heart is going in all kinds of directions. Thinking, longing, dreaming, wishing, hoping. Isn't it true, brothers and sisters? What kind of a mindset do you have as you think of this marriage is what I want to talk to you about. I want us to have a full, honest conversation so that we can really avoid the disasters that I'm confronted with on a daily basis, brothers and sisters, as I come and hear about the stories from within our communities. People who are young and old, do not think that you're exempt. SubhanAllah, brothers and sisters. Constantly, I hear of relationships, brothers and sisters, some as young as you, who have come together, right, thinking they're in love, only to end up in suffering within their marriages. Many end up in divorce. Too many people, brothers and sisters, are living within Muslims' homes with broken hearts. Homes that are filled with despair, bitterness, problems, abuse, oppression. And the only reason that many spouses, and especially sisters, are staying is because of fear. Because there is no way out. Because of family pressure. because of cultural expectations. Too many problems, brothers and sisters. I cannot even, wallahi, recount them for you. I remember vivid stories from within this campus of brothers and sisters that have quote unquote fallen in love with each other. They thought they found, for the sister, Prince Charming with a brother. And the brother looked at her and thought, this is the love of my life who will just complete me. A lot of our ideas, brothers and sisters, you know where they're derived about marriage? Quote unquote Indian movies or movies from Hollywood. I don't know about you if you've seen Indian movies. I've grown up seeing few of them. And you know about, brothers and sisters, the story of maybe the rich girl whose destiny is with that poor guy that is like Prince Charming. She finds him despite the pressures of her family to go for the bad guy, and they end up dancing in the rain, and the villain is all over them. He snatches her, and then the hero comes at the end to snatch her, put her on a white horse, and depart into this ever, non-ending romance of life. She found the bliss of her life. He found the bliss of her life. Isn't it true, brothers and sisters, that many of us are deriving or basing our dreams about marriage and relationships based on these notions? This pure romance, this perfect person who will be the soulmate with whom I'll find this eternal flutter of love in my heart, who complete me, right? The Romeo for the sister, the Juliet for the brother. How many sisters are still waiting for Prince Charming to come and pick him up and put him on a white horse? And I was really entertained to see many weddings using white horses these days. Really fascinating. So it's, subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, we dream of these things. And you know where we're getting these ideas and notions from. But you know what, brothers and sisters, these ideas do to us? They destroy us because they're not real. They're naive. They're unrealistic. And I can't count for you, brothers and sisters, stories, as I said, from within this campus of young brothers and sisters who were so naive, so ignorant, who didn't look for spouses. When they looked for their spouses, they were not looking for the right reasons. Ended up in these relationships, and they're now in homes that are broken. Many coming to me asking for a way out. That's not what I expected. I'm abused. Many of the sisters are abused, brothers and sisters. And many brothers are abused. Who's to blame, brothers and sisters? I want to go back and revisit where the problems are. Because I would hate, brothers and sisters, wallahi, every year, for you to depart from this campus and end up in marriages, perhaps sometimes like the marriages of our fathers and our mothers that are miserable. Or like those young brothers and sisters that are living in broken homes, abused, oppressed, and miserable for the rest of their lives. And if you're miserable within your home, you'll never be able to function in your life. I worry about you, brothers and sisters. I worry about how you think about marriage. I worry about your expectations and mindset. I worry about the cultural baggage you're inheriting from your parents. I'm worried about you with your ego and my ego, and not being realistic, and not looking for Allah Azza wa Jal and towards Allah and His Quran for what to look for, and fooling ourselves. This is, brothers and sisters, the impetus and the motive of my talk today. I'm worried. And I would pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that we end up, each and everyone in this place, in this location, in healthy marriages, that Allah Azza wa Jal bestows His mercy upon. Because wallahi, brothers and sisters, this is the biggest decision of your life. To pick that person who will be your lifelong partner, who will help you and support you in your life. If you pick wrong, you end up in a disaster. If you pick right with the guidance of Allah, you'll inshallah be happy. But realistically happy. Realistically, brothers and sisters. With this prelude to my talk, I would like to invite you, brothers and sisters, with this introduction, especially as it pertains to the naive perspectives we have. How many of us are really honest with ourselves to say, are we for real when we're thinking of relationships like this? With these fictitious ideas, imaginary ideas from movies and romance and all these dreams and fantasies? Or are we looking really to Allah Azza wa Jal, who created you and me, created your hearts, created your feelings, and knows what works for you? How many of us have looked at the Quran for the perfect way in which man meets woman? Man meets woman. How should they meet? What should they look for? How many of us have glossed over the Quran and never even grasped that there were stories about that? I invite you to look at Surah Al-Qasas. Surah Al-Qasas, brothers and sisters, exemplifies within it, presents to you an incredible, glorious story of romance. SubhanAllah, so romantic, it's divine. What's the setting of that story, brothers and sisters? Madian. Madian, as one of the historians says, it was this flourishing ancient town. You know where I'm going with this portion of the story. Who are the central figures? Who ends up being the husband and the wife. On the one hand, we have the daughter of Shu'aib. The daughter of Shu'aib. There were two of them, but I'm focusing on one who ends up being the wife. What is she doing, brothers and sisters? I wanted to look at her background. She's tending to what? To the flock of her father. Assisting, supporting her father. Her and her sister. SubhanAllah. Tending to the sheep of her father. And here they are, here she is around near a spring. Actually, it's a well, deep well of water. That's the first figure. She's keeping her sheep away from the well because there are men around the well. The second central figure, here is a fugitive running for his life, has just crossed the Sinai desert, thirsty, hungry, fatigued, who arrives at this town, doesn't even know it. Imagine his condition. Imagine the fatigue of that man. How thirsty and hungry and needy he is. Here he is looking at the well as well, but not wanting to mingle with the man, he doesn't even know them. Second central figure. That's a setting, brothers and sisters, in which ultimately, subhanAllah, will find a story of romance unfolding. Under the guidance and protection of Allah, when it's done right, you'll see what happens. The scene. So we spoke about the setting. We spoke about the figures. Look at the scene, brothers and sisters. Look at the scene and imagine it, a well. I mean, we come across this story all the time in the Quran, but imagine a well. Water. These rowdy men are around it. Fighting, arguing, screaming. It's not just orderly men, well-mannered, they're just watering their sheep. It's like a scene from one of those, bad neighborhoods, right? Bad neighborhoods, bad mob, just people screaming and yelling and cursing at each other, fighting over the water. Rowdy man. Even Musa in his strength stayed back. He looks across and he finds this other woman, two women, the daughters of Shu'aib, as we know. They're waiting, brothers and sisters. They have their sheep, but they don't want to also push themselves into that crowd. It's a hostile crowd. Very hostile crowd. Yet they're strong women. I want you to remember this, brothers and sisters. These were strong women. Their father is old, but they were tending to his sheep. SubhanAllah. Sharing the responsibility with their father because he cannot take care of the sheep. Imagine their sense of responsibility. They didn't even need anybody, but they were self-respecting themselves. Waiting until the rowdy men leave the scene, and then they'll go fetch the water for their sheep. I want you to think of their mindset, brothers and sisters, and the mindset of Musa. Here is Musa observing. And I want you to think of this man, brothers and sisters, especially for the sisters in this particular case. And I want you to think of the daughters of Shu'aib, them observing the scene and them observing Musa. Here is Musa, fatigued, tired. He doesn't know these women, does he? To him, they're strangers. These men are strangers. Strange land, I am tired, I'm fatigued. The least he could have said is, it's none of my business. I'm thirsty, I'm tired. I can barely stand up. I just crossed the desert. I don't even have a home. Do you think a chivalrous man or non-chivalrous man, selfish man, would think of helping now? Absolutely not, brothers and sisters. Yet his sense of responsibility and manhood was much, much stronger than his sense of what? Fatigue. You see, brothers and sisters, the first impulse of a real man? Sense of responsibility, sense of ethics, sense of integrity that was roused within him when he saw two young women sitting in the back, keeping back because of these rowdy men. So he stands up out of his chivalry and he approaches modestly these two young women. What does he say? Hey, what's up? Here, coming to town. Thought you're probably sitting around here. I just want to check it out, see if you need anything. Have a conversation perhaps. There's nothing wrong, right? After all, I want to help you out. Look at the two words, brothers and sisters.